Okay, on this sync amp right here, I'm getting like minus 25 volts. If I follow it back, the 255 is good. The minus 65 on the other 6CU8 is good. Minus 65, I'm getting minus 25 here, which is what's... This capacitor is suspect, C43. And which one is it? The Bumblebee right there. Doesn't show it on the SAMs as a Bumblebee 43. But what I heard, from what I heard, let me check that. See, on one side, minus 58. On the other side, minus 47. I don't know if I trust that. Okay, I was reading through two books here. I just came across the coin. This is a very good book, though. There's our, I believe, horizontal pulses there. Two things. I have a little Sylvania book. Very old book. It's really early on, Sylvania Electric. This one's kind of like a novice. It just explains things, but the key point here is the sync amplifier in the sweep circuits separate the sync pulses from the video. The good news, as I was saying, is that we have lost both horizontal and vertical sync, which is derived from the video. So, and then it gets divided by the sync separator, which is the tube I have it down in the corner, the 6AY8, I believe, AW8. So the filter capacitors and everything are in those couplets, and they even mention that in here, such as a couplet. So sync amplifier, well, let's check the tube. Let's see if we got a tube, okay? I believe I'm on C38 here as it feeds the sync separator from the video output. I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, I see the horizontal pulse. But I don't know if that's good, bad, or... It looks pretty bad because they say that it should be like way up here. So, but let me check the output. We're just going to keep probing around here. Let's get another tube and see what happens. That should be on the, we're on the input of the sync separator.
Wake up, I've got to talk to you.
Okay, we'll check some more. We'll still look for a tube.
You like me, don't you?
Okay, it's hard to do this one-handed, but that's the output, our plate of the video output. Looks like a mess to me. How's anything going to sync off that? Okay, in this contrast control I want to show what I'm talking about. There it is, no difference. And you go down to the end. Oh, maybe it is making it, no. Very little difference, if any. Now I'm going to go the opposite direction. And see, then it... Only at the very end of the contrast control. Still no sync. But that's just at the very, very end of the control. I'm going to check that out a little more too. So, open control. We'll test it again. Okay, that's it for now. Okay, I thought I would check that KCS 121 parts chassis. Oh, it's a good, it goes to the click of the thermal switch on that chassis. It uses a 6AQ5 as a video out. Video amp is a 6AW8, so we're good there with that. And the only one I don't have is the 6CU8. This chassis does not use that tube. But I will grab the 6AW8 out of it. Okay, grab that 6AW8 out of the other chassis. It's a shame that other chassis was destroyed just for use as a prop. But anyway, this looks like an original RCA in this one. This is a GE. We'll turn the set on and see what happens. I'm also going to investigate that contrast control. Give it a minute here to warm up. Still doesn't look as if, no, still running side to side, up and down. Contrast control next. Okay, just want to get a quick look at the contrast control. It's not shorting anywhere, but I want to take note. We have a, looks like a 820 ohm from the lead with the black wire to ground. A second 2.7K through the center to ground to the wiper to ground. The other end of the pot where the gets fed by the 200 volts to this 2-watt resistor also has a pink wire on it. So pink wire, resistor, black wire resistor to ground. Okay, although the control reads 3000 ohms, I have no wiper action going on between here and here or the other. The wiper is not functioning on this control. It's got to come out. I don't think that'll solve the problem, but we don't know yet. We got to solve what's bad. And the point I wanted to make is when the wiper is down, it faces flush. Pretty much flush, yes. Okay, quickly, contrast control. As you can see, I've got my 3K across it. However, the wiper, which is about set about midway, nothing. And if I turn it, I still get nothing. You'll have to trust me on that. So let's see, and from here, either side, nothing. Nothing on the wiper. Let's take it apart and see what's open. Let's see what's going on in here. One of the tabs did happen to break off there. They're just little tiny little tabs there, bend tabs. But let's see what's failing here. And let's tack something in to try it. I gotta hand it to you. Whoever they hooked and Jay hooked all these in, beautiful. Whoever was on the assembly line, really good work there. Physically inside, I don't see anything wrong with this pot. The carbon is real thick and really good, and the wiper is not broken. The wiper looks fine. And let's see what's going on with this thing. Okay, again, I assembled it real quick and did another test. That shifted a little bit. There's no connection on that wiper. I don't get it, and I'm not messing with it. I'm going to try to find another pot. Well, of course, I'm going to screw with it more. The wiper here is not... I can touch the probe here, and you can see I can vary the resistance as I slide up it. I don't know if, and if I go to the end, there's my 3K, and I can go down. It's a shame. And go all the way down. To 0. Well, thereabouts. So, something's up with the wiper action on this bad boy. Okay, I've re-arched the brass piece. I looked at it under magnification. It looked fine, so I re-arched the wiper. And now I can go from the full range of the pot. Everything doesn't look worn out at all. It's a shame we broke that one tab off, but at leave the rest of the parts will hold it in. I'm going to put this back in there. I just want to note that our 820 reads about 910. 10%, 82. It's just out. 2.7K reads 2.9. That's 200. It's just in. Okay. Okay, we're all back in there. We have the 2.7 going. Oh, actually, I did not even solder it going through the control yet. Let me tack that with some solder. The control is in. I'll have to see if I can solder to that tab that's almost protruding through. Let me tack that with some solder. The black wire was giving us a little trouble there. Okay, hold one. Okay, I've attached that last wire, and I may be able to solder a piece of wire to this. Just give this some support, but it's pretty good. Anyway, it turns. Let's see what we get. Let's see if we get contrast. Let's power, check our connections, and let's power the set up. Makes a weird sound when it comes on. It might be this thing. Must be a little heating element in there. It won't do anything until that clicks. While we're waiting for that. That's over here on the schematic. Thermo switch. Thermal switch right here. Turn off the volume control. Tube's lit. I'm ready for some action here. Still no sync. Let's see if we got contrast. Oh yeah. Okay. Have to do something here. Loss of sync. Well, the picture's a little snowy. There's some stuff going through it, but one thing at a time. Let's get the sync problem. First I was going to go through with a wire and solder to the top of the chassis, but I just did a hook around and soldered it both through, around, and hooked the control so we have some sturdy function there. Okay, so the contrast is behind us now. We'll try it one more time to make sure it's up. Okay, we'll check the contrast control. Good. Nice picture when we get this done. Alright, who's killing the sync?
They're looking like that, I can't take it.
I can't cry. This is deeper than tears.
Oh, now when you write your second novel, why Mr. Dorrance will come crawling to buy it.
Yeah.
There'll be no second novel. Benefit from these immortal pages. It isn't my loss, it's a loss to civilization. Too bad, world. Too bad, mankind. Sorry, book of the month. You had your chance, Bennett, sir. You'll get no more books from me, so go watch television.
Okay, before I get started back to work on this KCS 118A, I figured I'd go over a few things, a few general topics. I have the SAMs for this set, and the SAMs is, after that Sentinel TV I just did, between the SAMs and the Riders and some other Sentinel service guide, that was all over the place, and this seems to be the same way. This is a KCS 118A, and it varies from the C and the D and the B. But even the documentation, a friend sent this. This is the RCA service manual again, which really is so much better than just dealing with the SAMs. But what I want to say is I don't even have this R225 going sideways like that. I have my R230 seems to be marked 225, and my 230 is tacked on the underside of the PC board. So even the RCA documentation can vary somewhat, because that is for this chassis. Now, that area I was talking about is in here. I don't know if you can see that, but I only have 3 resistors going vertically like that. I don't have one going sideways, but there is one tacked on the underneath. Another thing I want to mention, before I go on to the next subject, people say, oh, this part was missing from the SAM, so I put it in there, or this TV doesn't have that part. So I wouldn't do anything according to the SAMs. I would go more by what's in the set, because there's so many production changes, and it's just a nightmare when they, on the fly, they change the design of these, and that's what I seem to be running into here. Another question was, did you try tubes, replacements that actually are known to work? Well, no, I don't. I got these out of another chassis that I've never seen run. So what I've gone, I have a little stash here. I know they're realistic lifetime tubes, what have you, but I did buy a stash a while back. I've been going through my tubes here, and I did find a couple of 6 AW8s, which is the video output tube here, with the wrong voltage on it. And I'm going to replace, well, I'll try another one there. I'm still looking for a 6 CU8, but I haven't gone through the box here yet, and I may have one somewhere. But another thing I want to mention, it's not even in the RCA documentation. Well, it's not pictured, but these caps here in the SAMs are not even listed. One is for AGC, I guess, this one. This one is on the, this is in the horizontal oscillator, this one. I don't like it because it's shiny. All the others have the old dust on it, and this is like kind of glossy, shiny, like it's been heating up or something. And it does have a wax drip on it. I'm going to replace these anyway and try it before I go ahead, and I'm going to make a couplet. I only have one couplet here. I do not have this here. And again, the SAMs is mislabeled. This is K1. They labeled it K3, and they labeled K3 over here K1. Where is the other one? The other one is like right here. This is K3, not K1 in their documentation. So they have this mixed up, this and this mixed up, and in fact this chassis doesn't even use this one, so I have no idea. But thankfully I have the RCA schematic that shows, let me see if I can pull it up here. I have the RCA schematic that shows the diagram as it should be. It does have, they call it, it does have that network there, but it does not have one above it up there. I don't know if I can scroll up there. So I have a better representation of what's going on at the 6AW8. That's not like the SAMs. So the SAMs is not cast in stone. You can't look at a SAMs and say, oh, the schematic says this. Well, it's just not good practice. Just go by what's in the set and go from there, unless you're going to re-engineer something. And I'm not at that level to be doing that kind of stuff. So just use it as a guide, and like I say, I'm going to continue forward, look for another tube. I'm going to create a couplet there, and I'm going to change those wax capacitors over there. That's what I'm going to do next, and try it. One last thing I did want to note is the R225. I followed that back to that suspect 0.47 shiny wax dripping capacitor, and it appears to be C105 there over on the left, to 0.47 to ground, and that is in the, well, that could be in the AGC there, but it's in the circuit, so it's going to affect something here. It's on the input control grid of the AW8. And we've changed that C226 to 0.047. So let's see what happens. We just happen to have a spare set here. We have the damper, an output tube, the 6CU8, and a 6AW8 also over here. This was in a tube caddy just a couple weeks ago. It was out in the rain, last day of a Hamfest, and I bought the tube caddy, so that paid off. Okay, we changed that one capacitor there in the back.
Mr. West,
most trusted special agent. And he has a message from the
And we have two new tubes in, well, two new old stock tubes. The Sylvania 6CU8 and a Japanese Raytheon 6AW8. And it's trying to lock. You can see it's trying to lock. See, I can help it here. But we're still all over the place here. It's trying to lock in, but so let's do the couplet. Okay, so as not to be confused by the SAMS diagram, I'm going by the RCA here. A 1 meg, a 270, a 2.2 meg, just like so. Which of course differs from the SAMS here. Although it's not the prettiest thing. I didn't have a 270, I'm using a 330K in that spot. That's a 1 meg there, these new 5 color-coded resistors. 1 meg, got a couple of 33 picofarads here, and again a 330K and the 2.2 meg just to try it out. Okay, from top to bottom it goes pin 1, that goes to the tube, pin 2 of the tube. The second has that, looks like a 1 meg resistor on it, and the third leg may or may not have that 8.2 meg on there. Okay, again, not the prettiest looking thing here, but I have it installed. Get some focus here. But I have it installed. I've checked, I've double checked. Pin 2 of the tube is the junction of the 1 meg and the capacitor. The 2.2 meg on this, even on this chassis, is not going to ground. It's going to 2 pads there, which you can see, but they're not attached to anything because it's going through a 1 meg resistor to ground. So I've just tacked it on that 1 meg resistor down there to ground. Get your focus in on that. That 1 meg goes to ground. That 2.2 meg does not go to ground. And both of those resistors, while out of circuit, test okay. 8.2 and the 1 meg. The 8.2 reads 8.9, that's within spec, and the 1 meg reads 1 meg. Okay, so our signal is on. Let's apply power and see what happens. Tube is lit. We're running with those same 2 new tubes. 2 330 picofarad capacitors. A 330 in place of the 270. And we just have to wait for that thermo switch to kick in.
His name's Bill Michaels. He's currently on leave from the Physical Fitness Council. Apparently he's
still
as
no
concerned
sync.
about those football upsets as we were.
So now we have both of them in our hair.
Need I say more?
So close, but it's killing me.
I hear you. Coming.
There's something else.
Yeah?
Sorry, sir. Package for Miss Abergast?
Is who?
Abergast. Natalie Rose Abergast. Want to sign here?
Oh, I never heard of the lady. You have the wrong apartment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any?
So after going around and shotgunning a few more capacitors, this one here, and the vertical, I got to thinking, the old timer in the sky now would tell me, check your grounds, check your voltages. Did you check your grounds? Well, they look good. Solder them anyway. Well, anyway, I resoldered this one in the corner. I'd already hit that before. And I was moving the board. I wanted to look up the ground breaks here and then continues up. I'll go over to the other side, over to here. And it just moves. I'll show you from the other side here. I hope this is what the problem is. And in fact, it does have a factory solder on the other side. Let me zoom in so you can see that. I'm talking... I'm going to get some focus. I'm talking right here. This is next to this white wire. That is a chassis ground. And if I push on this board, it's cracked wide open there. I've seen this a million times. I don't know why it's taken me so long. I don't know if I'm getting that, but that is cracked. I'm going to solder that and hopefully our sink comes in. So it's almost locking. It's getting better. I did a few capacitors over here. This is not the correct value, but I did jump one of those oil-filled ones and a couple here. So let's see how we do with a solder to the ground there. We'll get out the big guns. Okay, I soldered that one. Well, you look at this one too. You can fit a... You can fit a truck through that crack. Okay, so I'm going to assume we didn't short out our contraption down there. And we're going to hit it with some power. Tube is lit. Let's see how it functions with a properly grounded circuit board. There are other grounds around here, mind you. One thing at a time. Let's wait for that thermal sensor to kick in. Still no sync. Oh, still no sync.
Tell me, are all your American girls like that?
No, Your Highness. Some are redheads and brunettes.
Why don't you make yourself at home?
No difference.
Put your coat in the closet.
Unbelievable. This thing is really trying to lock in. Gone around and done some bad grounds. I'm gonna look at the board again, some more. Go around, do all the grounds. It's almost trying to lock in. I can almost stop the rolling and almost get a picture. See? Never done that before. Getting closer. The camera's blanking it, but almost is locking in. The horizontal, you can almost lock that picture in. And then it'll roll a little bit. It's getting better, but I'm not there yet. The picture's blanking, but this thing's almost trying to lock in. It's tearing, it's not rolling. It's almost locking in. A little more work around that PC board, I think. Picture is almost locking in. It's trying. It's almost there. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pushing around the board and I'm almost getting this thing locked in. In fact, the horizontal is locked in. The vertical? Just pressing her. The camera's blanking. It's like something is still not quite right. This is the most it's been locked in all day. Okay, the horizontal seems to have settled now. The vertical lock is not as good as I would like to see it. I mean, I can lock it in, but it's just not as it should be. It'll start drifting, but... Okay, this is better. This is better as it warms up. The vertical lock still doesn't lock as good as I'd like. And the horizontal has some squiggles, but we'll do a couple more caps in the vertical section, I think. maybe a tube sub or something, but we'll work in the vertical section. Okay, the picture seems to have settled down a little bit. It's still a little jumpy and squiggly, and I'll lose vertical lock, as you can see. It's just not as... Still get some noise or something in the picture, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. I may change the coupling cap in the vertical section and try a vertical... try the vertical tube here, one of the vertical oscillator perhaps, swap that out and see what happens. Okay, change another cap. I put some tube shields on. I don't have the shield on the bottom of the board, but it seems to be locking a little better. It's getting better and better. I still have some out of value resistors to replace.
Take police, for instance. You know, it isn't part of their job to like arrest people.
No problem is I don't know what all this video hash is.
For instance, who knows which...
I think it may be a tube in the tuner. I'll touch up the grounds around the tuner. I think there's something going on around the tuner for the hash. Like I say, the jitter, it's okay, but it's not where I like it. Okay, other than some video hash, I think I gotta clean the tuner, and I'm gonna check some of the grounds around the tuner. Maybe get rid of some of this noise. Plus, all the shields are not on. I did put some of the tube shields back. Okay, I've touched up some grounds in the tuner over here, and I changed one resistor, but I put the original back. And I'm getting this washed out, and the vertical won't lock. The hash lines are gone, and the contrast control will wash it out, and does have some effect, but I can't lock the vertical at all now. Okay, I got the contrast back. It was a loose capacitor here. This one right here, if I touch it, it will go bonkers. I'll have to resolder that. That's the coupling cap. See, it's already going out. That's the coupling cap.
Why don't you go out and practice parking the engine?
Okay, I had a crystal clear picture a moment ago. Now why do I have snow and crap? But and the vertical lock thing is a little bit of an issue. That's next. Okay, I found the problem with my contrast is this capacitor right here. The solder must not be good. If I wiggle it, I lose it, so I'm going to touch that up. Vertical still doesn't lock as much as I'd like, and I had a crystal clear picture here, and I'm adjusting my aerial. I don't know. There it is. So I don't know where this computer hash noise is coming from. That vertical lock, though. Okay, I've got my contrast back. Horizontal, I can turn, and it doesn't even phase the picture. Next, what I'd like to cure is this vertical lock, or lack thereof.
Maybe it's because the director of the FBI said you lied about your email.
With close to 3.5, Boston with almost an inch.
Okay.
And so that sets us up for a good
Just the vertical lock.
We've only been through a couple of days through this month so far, but
lack
we're
thereof.
already above average. It's been a while since
Catches,
we've had
but
it
it's
that way.
it's
There's still
jumpy.
a long way to go, though. That drought monitor still
Maybe we'll
includes
try
us in
another
extreme
tube.
drought conditions. This will be updated.
Begins right now. From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. Hurricane Matthew, the most powerful Atlantic storm in nearly a decade, is taking aim at Cuba and Haiti at this hour on a slow and deadly march that could impact the United States. The storm is captured from the International Space Station. The eye clearly visible as sustained winds up to 100.
Okay, this thing is pretty good right now.
Matthew is already blamed for at least 3 deaths.
I'll tidy up a few things, but this is basically
the last time a Category 4 storm hit the country.
Almost done. I'd like to strengthen the vertical hold. Maybe when I get the shields all back in place, I'll look around, try another oscillator. But yeah, we're gonna go with this.
The storm could be highly devastating for Haiti.
scheming. Was planning to do that, Colonel, just as soon as I get this bleeding stopped. Clamp.
That's a reaction bringer. Upstairs. He liked flat camels.
Margaret, it's me, Frank.
Are you he?
Yes, ma'am. I am the proprietor. Floyd Lawson, proprietor. That's he. That's me.
I better get back to City Hall.
I better check and see if there's been any crime waves or anything.
Well, goodbye, Floyd.